At its simplest, destructuring is a JS feature to extract properties from objects and assign them to variables. So let's first create an object. Let's call it employee and give it some properties like first name, last name, let's also give it a role, architect, and maybe one more property, department, design. So without destructuring, how will we extract this property? So let's create a new constant, and let's say we want to grab the first name of this object. So we'll grab the object and then call the property name. And then if we console log that, we can see, save that. On the right side, we can see that we've grabbed the first name. Similarly, we can grab any other property. Let's say we want to grab role. So we can grab the role. And we can grab that property. So now with destructuring, how are we going to do that? So what we need to do now is, destructuring allows us to grab any property names by using the curly braces, naming the property, and then assigning the object that we want to destructure. So we're achieving the same thing, and this way we can grab multiple variables all at once. We can do many other things. For example, we can assign an alias. So let's say we don't want the first name, we can call it first or anything else. And that way we can now call the first. And same, we can grab the last name and give it an alias last. And then we can show the last name last. Okay, so let's see how we can also assign default values to our properties. So let's assume our first name is not returned, or in some cases it's not returned. So what we can do is we can give a default value. That way, when the first name is not returned, rather than getting undefined, what we can then get is the property value, the default value. And if the first name is returned by the object, then we get the actual property value. Let's create a nested object within employees. Call it salary and give it a year one salary and an year two salary. And let's see how we can grab this year one or year two salary. So this is a nested object. So when we are destructuring, it works pretty much the same way. We first grab the main first level object, that is salary. Let's put it in the next line. Then we use the same destructuring approach. So curly braces, property name, year one, year two. And then when we want to grab the salary, we just call the year one in this case. And that way, there we go, we get the salary for the year one. So we have destructured a nested object. Most of the functions are also available, so we can again give alias to our properties if we so want. So like one. Okay, let's look at another example how we can destructure within a function. So let's create a function print name, and let's assume it accepts an object and then prints in, let's say, the first name. So in this case, the object will be our employee object. So what we can do is we can destructure it right within the function parameters, first name, last name, similar to how we destructured against a constant. And then when we call the function print name and pass it the employee object, there we go. We can then get the first name available right there. Okay, let's look at another example. Let's create an array of objects, employees. So this array contains multiple objects. So let's create the first object, first name, last name. And let's create another employee object, first name, Tim, and last name. So let's assume we want to grab the last names out of this array of objects. How you can do it without destructuring? We can basically map over this array and grab the last name. So what we can do is we can create a constant last names, grab the employees, then map over that item, and then return the item.last name. This is how we can approach it without destructuring. So const last name, so there we go, we can get the array of last names. Now with destructuring, how we can do it, so let's get rid of this. And then we grab the employees array and we again map over the array. But this time we create a function and then we use the destructuring curly braces. And then within the function, we then return that variable last name. The result will be exactly same. So just wanted to show you how you can achieve that. So in arrays destructuring, very similar to object destructuring. So here we have an array, nums array, and then we can just destructure. Rather than using curly braces, we use array square brackets, and then we can console log and grab a value a, in this case a and b, and a is 1 and b is 2. So very similar. Also we can use the rest operator like that, and then basically a and b will be assigned the values and the rest of the array will be assigned to the rest operator. So very useful in many situations. Another use case with the array destructuring is when we have to swap the variables. So let's say, let's get rid of this. And let's say we have two variables, x1 and y, let's say y2. And we want to basically swap the values of these two variables. So the end result is x will be 2 and y will be 1. So in normal cases, without destructuring, we'll create a temp variable and then assign x to the temp and y to the x, and then the temp back to y, and then we can console log x and y. So it's quite a process. Destructuring makes it really easy. So there you can see x is now 2 and y is 1. With destructuring, what we can do is get rid of all the need for a temp variable. So get rid of that. And all we need to do is xy is equal to yx. So as you can see, exactly same result and way less code. So in this video, we looked at object destructuring and array destructuring. We looked at different features within object destructuring, which is nested, aliases, using default values, rest operator. We also saw the use of destructuring in functions, and we saw a particular use case of array destructuring, which was swapping variables.